From Final Shape Showcase to the new seasonal launch, Destiny 2 had its fill of content for the week, but I will say it's not over yet. Today, let's talk about how to complete the new seal title for the Season of the Witch called HARUSPEX. Before we begin, if you want to support me and help me continue to make more guides like these in the future, if you want to use my Epic Games supporter creator code when purchasing anything from the Epic Store, here it is on screen, especially if you're a D2 gamer looking to play the DLC on Epic. To start off with a new season, it's just like all other seasons. You gotta get through the introductory cutscenes and missions before you can access any of the other story content or seal challenges. After completing the first week quest line, you'll be able to officially get started on completing the seal. Starting off, the Bladed Path is the seasonal questline and the first triumph for the seal needed for completion. This Bladed Path questline will last for a total of 7 weeks, meaning that you cannot get this seal until a little while after 7 weeks. Time-gated seals. I know a lot of you hate them, but it's still happening, so there's nothing I can do about it except try to help you all out. Triumph 2, Cartomancer. With the introduction of Season of the Witch, we were given multiple different activities to do, such as the Altars of Summoning and the Savathun Spire. This triumph is to get the major Arcana quests and complete them from the Lectern of Divination. The Lectern of Divination can be found within the Pocket Throne world at the Helm, where Eris currently now resides. Major Arcana quests and minor Arcana quests are all in the form of cards. These cards are known and usable in the Deck of Whispers, which can be found in the Athenaeum. Each Arcana card will have multiple different tasks for you to complete. Most major Arcana quests are tied strictly to the Savathun Spire or Altars of Summoning activities. Once showing your opaque cards to the Lectern of Divination, you will then receive a quest that you have to complete, which will fully finish your card. The major cards are the only ones that truly give you buffs during each Savathun Spire or Altars of Summoning match. The minor cards are basically just there as extra little things. Some of the major Arcana quests will have you doing things like Altars of Sorrow or Altars of Summoning to get insight from defeating enemies, but all of them are pretty easy. In total, there are 12 major Arcana card quests that need to be completed for this triumph. In order to complete them, some are tied to the weekly story quests. There are quite a few cards that are available during this week. Some of them are the Sisters major card from the Savathun Spire activity, the Harbinger, the Adherent, and the Witch cards, also all obtainable from Savathun Spire, the Blades card coming from Altars of Summoning, and a couple of extras like some weekly unlocks, rank up rewards, and a few hidden ones. My hope later on in this season is to have a full guide on how you guys can obtain all 55 of the cards, but for now, this one just requires you to have 12 major and 22 minor. This last thing that I just said does tie into the third triumph. You need to collect 22 of the minor Arcana cards. Like I said, there's 55 opaque cards total that transfer into major or minor Arcana cards. Simply complete weekly quest lines, play the new seasonal activities, find some hidden around each of the locations, and rank up your ritual table, and you'll be able to earn a lot of these cards. You do not need to collect all 55 of the opaque cards to complete these 2 triumphs relating to Arcana quests, but there are some pretty cool rewards that you can get from getting all 55, so it's really up to you. Resplendent Ritual. This 4th triumph is as simple as it was for other prior seasons. This one is simply to reset your ritual rank at the ritual table in the Athenaeum. Just level up to the maximum level and reset it once you're done. This is probably the most lengthy challenge of them all due to its consistent playing of seasonal activities over and over again, but you do get a cool looking ship called Sparagmos from completing this triumph as well. Also, I will add, I just played 1 day and I'm already at rank 10. And I did maybe like 5 or 6 Savathun Spire missions, so it's pretty easy to rank up. Might and Magic. Now, normally for these triumphs, it's tied to a weekly basis. However, that does not seem to be the case this time. At least 2 of the 3 bosses that I've been able to fight are currently within the playlist rotation. One of them is a lot less common than the other, but it is possible. So far, we can fight the Hive Wardens seen here on the screen, and this. The Scorn Experiments. However, I have not been able to fight this unknown boss just yet. I'm sure that if it doesn't show up this week, it's definitely a rotation-based boss, but it'll come out a later week. Mirror Mirror. This one is completable right now and is a very, very simple one to complete. As you can see on screen, I completed this on my first try in the Savathun Spire. When you get to this point, there are multiple doors and multiple sigils. You have to memorize the pattern on the 3 largest sigils in the first room. There are 3 more rooms that require you to remember this exact pattern, so do not forget it. It is different every time that you play, so for me it was this pattern here. And you'll see I simply went into each portal that had the set of sigils, and it completed the triumph upon exiting the last portal. Very simple, very easy, just so long as no one beats you to it and starts the next encounter. Uncovered Truths. This one is to find hidden weekly chests within Savathun's Spire. However, it doesn't say that there's only one available per week. And I'm here to tell you that there is not one. There are two. It says here that there's 4 weekly hidden chests, and I was going to have a separate guide on all 4 at the time they were out, but for this particular week, I'm just going to attach the first 2, and next week I'll have another 2. This is the first one that you can find from doing a rune puzzle in the Ascent. And this is one that you can find from doing a rune puzzle in the Labyrinth. Now the cool thing about this is that these are 2 of 6 total secrets. There are 2 other rune sets that we'll have to complete at a later week for both the Ascent and the Labyrinth. And there's also 2 guarded chests in the first and second area. I don't know what these guarded chests are guarded by and where they're going to spawn, but it's pretty interesting to know that there's 6 total secrets here and 4 hidden chests, supposedly. Also, I just want to mention, since we're talking about the weekly hidden stuff, you'll notice that there's a few cards laying around. A lot of them say like Arc Attunement, Solar Attunement, Void Attunement. None of these are actually related to these hidden chests. As a matter of fact, these are cards that you can pick up at a later date. I don't know what this attunement is and how you get it, but when you do, all you have to do is just come back to this location and pick up the card. There are multiple different cards that are hidden in certain locations, and I will have a separate guide on where those can be found, just so that when the time comes you can collect them all. But yeah, that is basically what those are, and they're not tied to chests. Tidebringer. Outside of the actual questline for the week, completing Altars of Summoning is all you have to do for this challenge. It is not based on a weekly basis, and it's just based on the grind and how much you play this activity. No, your progress from the first weekly quest will not count towards this challenge. You have to go into Altars of Summoning after the first weekly quest is done in order to progress this challenge. Just keep in mind when you're doing this that the powerful offerings are powerful for a reason. You'll get hit. You'll get hit hard. Drawn Blades. This challenge is yet again to defeat enemies with the seasonal weapons of this season. The one weapon I found to be the most effective and reusable for this specific season is the new scout rifle called Bria's Love. You can, however, use the following weapons to do this challenge. The season pass weapon does not count towards this challenge's progress, and the only following weapons count: Eleatic Principle, Kept Confidence, Bria's Love, the Eremite, Semiotician, Locus Locutus, and Red War era weapons like Showrunner, Deadpan Delivery, Persuader, and Nightshade. And finally, the last thing to talk about is the secret triumph in this seal title. It's actually something we're able to see at this time, and it's not entirely secret. We have to complete the tests in something called the Imbaru engine. It says here we have to discover the Imbaru engine and complete the 3 tests: the Cunning test, the Navigation test, and the Strength test. Well, what is this Imbaru engine, you're probably asking? Well, let's go think about D2 lore for a second and talk about it. In the lore of the game, Imbaru is the word that Savathun uses to reference the tithe of battle and taking the souls of those defeated and imbuing them to grow one stronger. Sounds a lot like what's happening right now in the current season, yeah? This sounds like a beefier version of doing the Altars of Summoning. So I'm guessing that we'll have to see this Imbaru engine at a later week, and that's going to be what it's all about. But there are some tests that we have to complete in this Imbaru engine in order to get the final seal triumph. That's all for the Season of the Witch seal guide. I hope this was helpful in some ways. In the pinned comment of this video, I'll have the second set of weekly chests when they unlock, and I'll be working on a guide on how to get all 55 of the opaque cards. See you soon, Guardians, and get ready. We got a lot of work to do if we want to fight the Witness.